It's Rob!
Tony! And I'm Jeff.
We're in gaming.
And that's you.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Rob here with the Inn, and today we're going to knock out a really fun deck. It's super effective, and it's pretty cheap in comparison to all the other decks that I've done and some of the other top-ranked decks you'll see. This will be the Tempo Mage deck, and I'm sure you've gone against it if you played Hearthstone anytime in the last couple months. It definitely takes advantage of the Blackrock Mountain cards, the Flame Waker, that works really well in the Mage deck. So we'll play 3 ranked games, we'll knock those out, we'll see if we can pick up 3 wins, and we'll go from there. So we're going to keep the Flame Waker, of course, in the Unstable Portal, because that's just fantastic. Unfortunately, we didn't get a Mana Worm, which is great on turn 1. But that's okay. We have an Azure Drake, and the Flame Strike, well, it's not really useful right now, so that would have been a card we would have gotten rid of if it would have been in our starting hand, not after we've mulliganed. So it looks like we are going against a legend player, because if we take a look at his card back, it's quite nice and it's shiny and it's awesome, and I don't have that card back yet. So we're going to have to put on our game faces, boys. We can't lose. So turn 1, obviously there's nothing really we can do. I'll go over the deck list on the right hand side for you guys as we kind of go through the game, and I'll whenever there's some dry points, we'll hint on those and just talk about them and why they're in the deck and why I have certain numbers in there, because this is definitely not... you could find similar decks to this Tempo Mage deck. It's not like they're all different. They run pretty much the same track, but I've got a few cards here and there that are a little bit different. So we're going to coin into our Flame Waker. He hasn't really played anything. I mean, he could Frostbolt it, ping it. Actually, he couldn't Frostbolt it and ping it for 1. He could Flame... What is it? Flame Cannon, I believe it's called. Yeah, of course it is. We're actually running 2 of those in our deck. I can't believe I didn't know what that was called. Anyway, yeah, he could Flame Cannon it, but I don't think he will. So, what is he going to play? I hope he plays maybe something with 2 health and Arcane Missiles. Okay, so he's going to ping it for 1. Ouch. So next turn that thing's going to die, without a doubt. We're up to 3 mana, so we'll probably just throw down another Flame Waker. We got lucky when we pulled 2 of them out and swing for 2. So taking a look at the deck list, we got 1 Mirror Image. Some people run 2, some people run none. I found that on turn 1, if you can get a Mana Worm and a Mirror Image out at the same time against any sort of rush deck, really suits you well. It does work. And also with it only costing 1 mana, comboing it with the Flame Waker, put something in front of the Flame Waker so they can't attack it, and it also adds to its damage, the 2 damage if you're going against a rush deck. So we'll Unstable Portal, it's going to deal its 2 damage. We're going to throw down our Mad Scientist, and we'll throw down the Cobra and swing for 2. It's turn 5, so I don't think he's going to Blizzard. Yeah, I don't think. He isn't going to Blizzard, and he's got 2 more turns till Flame Strike. So we have a good amount of time until he's going to, till he's going to play some Field Clear, if he ends up playing Field Clear, that is. So, yeah, just pay attention to the mana. Don't, load your field up on turn 6, heading into turn 7 against a Mage. It's just never a good idea.
What to do? What to do?
So, we'll head into some more cards in the deck. We've got the Mana Worm. It's our turn 1 drop. It's our only 1 drop in the deck. That's because most of our cards are spells and later on creatures to kind of keep us in the game longer. But we'll talk about those in a bit. So Mana Worm, of course, great card. I like how he just wasted a Fireball on our Flame Waker. I don't like Flame Waker dying, but I do like him using a Fireball because that's 1 less, and that's a really powerful card. So we'll swing for 2, swing for 2. So a smart thing would have been to probably Counterspell, but I only had 2 creatures on the field, so I mean, if he has Flame Strike, it'll be decent for him, but I mean, it won't change the fact that I have a good lead on him. Okay. He's gonna, okay. That was a good Flame Cannon. It didn't kill any of our bigger creatures, or the, it didn't kill the Cobra either. So it looks like we just said, he did the Flame Waker and then the Mirror Image to put something in front of it. So we'll Frostbolt this, and we'll swing for swing, and we'll end our turn here. Unfortunately, I probably should have played Counterspell, like I said the last turn. I didn't even think about it. I was killing shit too fast. So if he Flame Strikes, that'll be pretty unfortunate, but at least we'll get the Death Rattle. But yeah, instead of playing the Shredder, I could have Counterspelled. Yep. Could have Counterspelled, should have Counterspelled, and that's why you gotta pay attention. But either way, we got a decent 2-drop out of it. So we'll play our Shredder, and now we'll play our Counterspell. It's a little late, but hey, don't worry about it. So from here, it's going to be really hard for this guy to come back. We've got a counterspell down, and we've got our Shredder. Or, no, our Mirror Entity. And our Shredder. Jeff is standing over to the side with a sub. Hey, Jeff.
Hi.
Would you like to sit down, Jeff?
I would.
Okay, you can sit down. You're not disrupting me.
Alright.
You good.
I don't want to interrupt.
I hear sandwich ruffling in the background. Okay, so he's gonna Frostbolt. It's going to get counterspelled, and then he played the Azure Drake. Of course, that got copied, and I'm sorry, because I'm pretty sure that's gonna be game right here. So that's 4, 8, 12. That is pretty game. So we did put our game face on against this legend player. Woo! Pick up a nice win. This deck has taken me... Oh, by the way, we're actually already on a 3-win streak. So this is just 3 more wins on top of 3 wins that we had. Or, yeah, 3 wins we had previously. So this, hopefully we can get 6 wins in a row is what I should have said from the start. I'm picking this up already winning, on a winning streak with this deck. And then last season, this deck actually brought me to rank, I believe 4 it was. It was 4 or 5 that I played this deck with. So it is... I've changed it a little bit as time goes on, and this is the final copy of the deck that has seemed to really pump out a lot of juice. And I mean, yeah, there's 3 legendaries in it if you look on the deck list to the right, but 3 legendaries compared to like a control warrior deck or maybe a druid deck, I mean, that's really not a lot to ask for, considering Ragnaros is it's a legendary that's been here since the start. Dr. Boom is something that you should definitely be working towards. If you don't have him, he goes into almost every single deck. And then we have Windrunner, who's also been here since the start, just like Ragnaros. And you guys definitely need to be working towards these neutral legendaries that you can play in any of the decks. So these legendaries that if you don't have, you should craft these, if anything, because they're neutral. These will go into a lot of your other decks. So not much has been going on so far in this game. That's why I'm not really worried about the game right now. It's been ping for 1, nothing. Play Zombie Chow, you know. So now it's turn 3 though, which means we can play something. So we can play Counterspell, which would be kind of pointless. We can draw 2, which wouldn't be bad, or we can Flame Waker and get something on the field. So I mean, we didn't really get a good starting hand with this this game, so it's going to be a little tricky because we know we're playing against a druid, and that's probably a ramp druid, and that's more late game for him. So which means that we should have started off really good and got down some good health chunks already, but we haven't. So we'll just do the Flame Waker and our turn. It's not like he can heal the Chow, so it's not like if he attacks the Flame Waker, it'll live. So I'm pretty sure he might maybe attack the Flame Waker and play a Wrath or Wraith. No, Wrath. Yes, I would say Wrath and Wraith. Don't know why. Ooh, a Shade of Naxxramas. So our Flame Waker will actually live this turn. That's really unique. Normally they kill the Flame Waker way too quick. So, we could... I have a feeling if I play Shredder, he's just going to swipe. But we'll do it anyway. So we'll swing directly. We're not even worried about the Zombie Chow. When it dies, it dies. It's not like it's a priest, so if it lives, and then he plays the... not the Soul Priest, I believe it's called. I don't know. It's the card that makes you take damage from healing. So they actually can turn the 5 damage from the Zombie Chow against you and actually make you take 5 damage instead of healing 5 damage, which I actually do in one of my games. It's actually really fun. Oh, Jesus. There's a swipe. Oh, I saw it coming. Alright, so he's able to do that nice swap-a-roonies, kill my Flame Waker, kill the Shredder, and then use his Zombie Chow as a suicide bomber. Counterspell would have been really good against this swipe, because I really don't want to use it against like a Wild Growth or like an Innervate when it doesn't have to be used for that. So we'll swing for 3, end our turn. Obviously we played the 4-drop. It's not like we had any 5-drops to play. I mean, we could have drew 2, pinged for 1, but we need field control. This deck is all about field control, and you need to gain it as fast as possible, as soon as possible. That's the whole tempo portion, and not really worry about your hand. I mean, if you've got no cards in your hand and you have like what's a good example? You have no cards in your hand, and then like a Mana Worm, play the Mana Worm and draw. There you go. But for the most part, you want to save your Arcane Intellect until you have literally nothing else to do. Okay, so he's good at good defense. He's played the shades out, so those are going to be really annoying to take care of. So we definitely have to deal with those quite quickly. So we're going to sheep this ledge. We're going to ping it for 1, and then we're pretty much just going to swing for 7. We got to keep doing as much damage as possible here. He's almost at half health, and those shades are going to get really out of control really quick. I mean, he already has 8 damage with them. If he uses Savage Roar, that turns into 12, and then if he has Force of Nature with that, that's like 24 damage, not including his passive, which is close to game. So, a 5-10, holy shit. We are only wanting 1 Polymorph in this deck, so we definitely have to get past that, and I think the best way would probably be Fireball, hit it with our Shredder, and yeah. Okay, so with the leftover mana, we'll play our counterspell here for free. So like I said, we're gonna Fireball, swing it for 4. Let's see what 2-drop we get. An Iron Beak, that would have been great to use on that 5/5, not to get out of a Battle Cry or a Death Rattle. My bad. So now he has 10 damage with the shades, 14 if he Savage Roars, and 26 if he Force of Natures as well. So always want to keep track of what your opponent can do, especially Ramp Druid, guys. Ramp Druid can pull out fucking retarded damage in 1 turn. Like, so many times in my Ramp Druid deck do I have them, or they have me like within the 5 to 10 health range, gonna win next turn. Savage Roar. Force of Nature, Savage Roar. GG. GG, well played. Okay, so heading down on the deck, we've got the Flame Cannon. This is a 2-drop, deal 4 damage to a random creature on your opponent's side of the field. But if you have an Azure Drake out, it does 5 damage. So it really takes care of Sledge Belchers, I found. You just have your Azure Drake, they play Sledge, you play Flame Cannon, you say GG, well played. So that is awesome, top deck. Flame Strike. Wow. That worked out really fucking well. We got lucky there. I'm not gonna say that was skill, I'm gonna say that's fucking luck. That was a really, really, really nice Flame Strike. I mean, we could have played Sylvanas, and she would have been a great defense for a little bit, because she would have probably traded into them and took it, or been able to take one. But it's nice we do that Flame Strike. And this Druid doesn't have a lot of cards, so I feel like if he draws into Ancient of Lore, which allows him to draw 2 cards for a 7-drop, that'll definitely start changing this game around, because I only have 4 cards in my hand. Okay. So, we know we have a counterspell down. We need to kill this Sledge. We also need to draw some. And we also want Sylvanas out. But we know we can't do everything we want to do in 1 turn due to our mana restraints. So I may start getting rid of that Sledge. Let's draw 2 into this. Not bad 2 draws, not bad 2 draws at all. We'll play our Mana Worm. We will hit this for 3. And we'll end our turn. And I wish that would have maybe pinged it for 1. It didn't ping it for 1 at all. So next turn it's frozen, so it's not like it can attack us, which is nice. So we'll be able to ping the Sledge next turn. It's going to bring out that 1/2, and then we'll be able to kill it off with our Mana Worm or whatever we want, our Flame Waker, depending on what's going on. See, that was kind of a waste of a coin. I mean, kind of a waste of a counterspell. I wish, again, we would have been able to counterspell that swipe. Okay, so depending on what we draw next turn, it looks like it's going to be Windrunner. Yep, so we're going to ping it for 1, play Windrunner, kill the 1/2, and most likely end our turn. So heading off into this deck, we've got the Frostbolt. This is literally a staple into every Mage deck. Frostbolt just goes in there. It's just one of those cards. Unstable Portal. This is a really nice card. This is seen, it sees a lot of play in a lot of Mage decks, and it definitely can change games around if you get the right card out of it. I mean, it's a chance most of the time, but the -3 cost it has, it puts on that creature to whatever you get. I mean, I've gotten a turn 5 Rag before, and that really just fucks people up. So it's a chance, but most of the time you get a decent card out of it. It turns into worth, and that's what it gets its value, and that's why it's played. That's why you run 2 of them. It also works well with the Flame Waker. So we drew into a nice old Mad Scientist, which will give us a secret when it dies, which is awesome. I love fucking Mad Scientist. It works so well in so many decks, especially this tempo one, because you get your mirror. They kill the Mad Scientist, you get your mirror entity. It copies their creature. It just has so much value that comes out of 1 card that just keeps leading into more cards. Like, the Mad Scientist leads into the secret leads into a creature, and that creature leads into either hitting them, doing more damage to them, or hitting them harder. Like, it's great. And I believe that's going to be game here. Because we could just swing for our 3, swing for Mad Scientist, and ping for 1. But we also have to remember to Flame Cannon so we can get past that 1 more armor. I'm playing my other Mana Worm just for fun. Okay, so there it is. Ping him directly for 1, swing for 4, swing for 2, and that is game over. So that's actually been another little win streak here, and then we're gonna head into our last game here. Let's see if we can knock out that 6 wins in a row. I want to say it is 3 in this video. The other ones aren't recorded, but anyway, you can see the win streak started from game 1, which you don't get. You normally just get 1 star, but we already had 2, so you know I'm not lying. Okay, so the deck list, the Mad Scientist under the Unstable Portal, of course running 2 Mad Scientists, great card. And to combo the Mad Scientist, we've got the 2 Mirror Entities in here and 1 Counterspell. The Counterspell kind of throws off what people think, because most of the time it's either a Mirror Entity, and that's what people think it is, so they'll play around it, but when it's actually Counterspell, they'll be like, oh shit. And it also is just a really, I've loved Counterspell since the beginning. It's been in a lot of my decks, even though it shouldn't have, because a lot of people don't play it anymore, but it's continually found its way into a lot of my Mage decks, so really nice card. So our turn 1 here, we didn't get a Mana Worm, but we did get a Mad Scientist, so of course we're going to coin into him. Next turn, if they play any creatures, it's either going to get Flame Cannon. If he doesn't, we'll just ping for 1. So just think ahead. If you're going on turn 1, hopefully you've got the Mana Worm. If not, hopefully you get that turn 2. With this deck, you definitely want to at least have a turn 2 creature, which will be your Unstable Portal, Mad Scientist, or Mana Worm. Look for any of those cards when opening with this deck. That Mage definitely got a nice card out of there. Unfortunately, he had to destroy one of his mana crystals to play it, but turn 1, 3-5, I mean, you can't really argue with that. So we'll jump it. We'll put our little defense here and end our turn, in hopes that next turn we'll be able to, oh wait, yeah, Flame Cannon. I'm derping. I should have just Flame Cannoned it this turn. Because I was thinking I could Flame Cannon and ping it, but I lied. You can't do that.
Well played.
Whoops. Well, yeah, we're just gonna kill it off with our Mad Scientist. There's no point, because then he would have killed our taunt, and he would have pinged the Mad Scientist for 1, and it would have just set at 1 health. So we would have just lost our taunt for no reason. So, it was inevitable. Our Mad Scientist was dying, and it had to be used. Okay, so playing the Piloted Shredder, my favorite of the 4 drops. He is the new, I don't want to say new Yeti, but I mean, he's the king of the 4 drops. Hey, look, Yeti. Speaking of the Yeti that we just got. Yay, thank you, Mad Scientist. That gave me a secret. That gave me a Yeti. Okay, so another turn 4. We could play another Mirror Entity, or we can play a Shredder. I'm thinking we should probably play the Shredder, yeah. And we have no defenses because he's just going to ping our taunt for 1. But if he pings our taunt for 1, he's only going to have 3 mana. And with 3 mana, he's not going to play a decent creature. So that's why we didn't play the Mirror Entity. We played our Shredder. Because, you know, there he goes. He has 3 mana, and what is he going to play with 3 mana? If he would have had, like, 6 mana and not had to waste one of those on our ping, I probably would have played Mirror Entity in hopes that maybe he'd play, like, a Windrunner or another Yeti or something. Ooh, and we just got the best 2-drop you can get out of the Shredder, the 4/4 Millhouse. So now we'll Mirror Entity to know, because he has 6 mana that he's going to use next turn to probably play a creature, because if he doesn't play a creature, he's going to lose. So maybe it's a Sledge Belcher or something. It's always good to figure out the best times to play your secret. It's not just always best to, hey, I have the secret, play it, it's turn 3. Now, think about when your opponent's probably going to play a secret in response to something, whether you have on the field or something they may know you have in your hand. So from here, I think one of those might be a Counterspell. I already know one of those is a Mirror Entity. So we'll swing for 3 if nothing happens. Actually, let's take 1. Fuck that. What do we get? Ooh. Ooh, that's upsetting. We took his Ice Block, which would have given him 1 more turn. Ooh. I'm sorry. Damn. Ooh, that was dirty. That's why we run the Mystic, guys. That's why she's in the deck. Alright, so hopping over to the deck list to our right, we'll finish them off real quick. 1 Arcane Intellect, 2 seems to be too much for this deck. This is a very fast-paced tempo deck. From turn 1, we are gone. We are trying to build this. By turn 6, 7, you should win. This deck does last into the later turns because of the Windrunner, Dr. Boom, and Rag. So it does live on past turn 7. So if you get into the late game, don't worry. The deck still has some oomph in it. But for the most part, you'll finish most of your games before, I would say, around turn 4 to turn 7 is when normally you should be wrapping up your games. Heading off from there, we've got one counter spell that we mentioned before, 2 mirror entities, which we've already been over. The Flame Waker, which is of course a very important part of the deck. That's the whole tempo Flame Waker deck. Krintor Mage. 2 of these guys is just too much, but since we are running 3 secrets and there's only 2 mad scientists, we can't expect to get all of our secrets out. Obviously, we're going to have to use our mana to cast them out of our hand, or if we happen to get 1 or 2 of in our hand, obviously the Mad Scientist isn't going to pull it out of our hand, it pulls it out of our deck. So having the Krintor Mage allows us to get a pretty decent 3 drop out. He's a 4/3, so the stats aren't bad, they're pretty good. And also, he allows us to play that secret for free, giving us, it's a lot of value. It's 7 mana's worth out of 3 mana, or 6 mana's worth, I'm sorry, for 3 mana, because he's obviously worth 3, and then he gives you that free secret if you have it in your hand. So always mulligan back your secrets in your deck if you happen to get them in your opening hand, but if you do get them later on, the Mage, the Krintor should be there to make them free. Fireballs, that's just a staple. We're only running 1 polymorph because I found that we have enough removal already. We've got flame cannons, we've got frost bolts, we've got fireballs, we've got Mirror Entity, we've got Flame Strikes, so I mean, Polymorph isn't really, I find it useful, like we used on that Sledge Belcher that one time just to get past it, but for the most part, our spells can deal with whatever opponent's throwing at us for those early games. Remember, this isn't a control deck, this isn't a late game deck, it's not a control warrior, it's not a turn, you're not going for the super end game here, you're going for a pretty quick win, so use your spells if you have to as removal for creatures on the field. That's what the Fireballs, Frost Bolts, and Flame Cannons are there for. Also, due to all the rush decks, Polymorph, I mean, 4 mana, you're not getting rid of anything out of a rush deck that you can't just replace with another 1 or 2 drop, so just keep that in mind. I run 1 Mystic. You can replace this Mystic and the Mirror Image if you're going against a lot of later game decks, and replace them with Sledge Belcher. But for the most part, I find myself playing a lot of other mages, a lot of freeze mages, a lot of Alexes, a lot of hunters, and a lot of paladins, and all those guys use secrets, and this Mystic destroys them. It fucks them up, it ruins their tempo, it gives them a bad day. So that's why I'm playing 1 Mystic. 2, also, if you get Mystic in your opening hand against a hunter, keep it. Even though it's a 4-drop, keep it. Piloted Shredder, staple. Always a good 4-drop. The Azure Drake, this is great. Draw 1, spells are worth 1 or +1 spell damage. You happen to be running a lot of spells, works well with your deck, a lot of synergy with that card. Windrunner, this is what's probably going to change a lot of games for you. It has for me. Just her death rattle, it makes your opponent have to either awkwardly trade with her, giving you 2 to 1 card advantage, or it's going to take one of your opponent's cards and definitely send them back a couple turns. Flame Strike, running 1 of these just because you know it helps out when you need it. Having 2 is too much, 1 is just enough, like I've said many, many times before. Dr. Boom, he's fucking broken, just play him. And Ragnaros, this guy hasn't seen a ton of play in my decks lately, but he's definitely in this deck. He works out well because he does that 8 damage instantaneously. So if they have, as soon as you end your turn, he does the 8 damage. So it's not instantly, but as soon as you end your turn, it's instant. So if they have no creatures on the field, obviously if you play Rag in your turn, that's 8 damage. That's more than a Fireball, and he gets its value right away. So that's why he's in the deck. And this wraps up this Tempo Mage deck. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I know I have enjoyed playing this deck very much so, and hopefully I'll be able to hit Legend with it because this is the deck I'm going for with it, or going for that. So if you have any questions, comments, leave that in the section below. I'll be happy to answer it. If you don't have all of these cards, don't worry. Just kind of let me know what you what you don't have, so I can maybe come up with something that'll help you in replacement for that. But for the most part, this is a really cheap deck, really effective, and you'll do really well with it. So with all that, thanks for stopping by the end, guys. I'm Rob, of course, and happy whatever the hell day it is.